So funny. Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Is everyone here? We're tuning in. We're live. We are at Beyond the Surface podcast, episode 14. 1-4. Who would have known? The Lord knows. He knows everything. So thank you all for tuning in. If you are here, come on in the comments. Give me a hey. Let me know you're here so I can acknowledge you. Thank you all for tuning in. We are here every Thursday at 6:30. 6:30. Tune in. I'm your girl. Started my podcast off of a dream, a prayer, and some faith. And here I am, 14 episodes in, and I have really been blessed by the podcast. I've really been blessed by the testimonies that have come from the podcast. If you are here, we're asking that you... Oh, hey, Jess. Thank you for tuning in. If you are here, I ask that you tune in, click in. Let me see what's going on. Yes. Okay. What else we have? We are, I ask that you, if you would like to, and you're watching, if you can go back and watch the previous episodes that we had. We had Reverend Nikki on. That is our very first episode where she talked about purpose and faith and goals. And you hear music? Oh, she says she hears music. Oh, okay. There's music. Oh, yeah. So Andrew, my son-in-law, who is my daughter's husband, my son-in-law, he made like a little beat for me for my introduction. So yes. Welcome. Thank you, Andrew. So kind of you. So that way I don't have to use the other people's the music. But yes, if you want to start at the beginning, we have Reverend Nikki, who is gave us purpose, faith, goals, and facing our fears. So if you want to go on the podcast to watch that, you can do that. We had Jen Owens, who is a therapist, and she gave us some therapy on boundaries. So there's marriage, there's singles, boundaries in the bedroom was a good one with Katrina Edmonds. That was really good. We had fatherhood, journaling with Kippy. Yes, that was really good. That was even good going out to the beach and journaling with her. We had Dr. Hill, who talked about pre-adolescent anxiety and depression. That is episode 8. So if you are a parent and you have kids and they're dealing with anxiety and depression, go watch episode 8 with Dr. Hill. She is a pediatrician. So yes, professional, and she's going to give you some great information. We talked to some entrepreneurs with a leap of faith through episode 9. That is Andrew and Aaron and Andrew, who made my music. Thank you, Andrew. We talked about life choices. So it was Transitional Thursdays in July. And we talked to a lot of people. You want to go through all the July. We will talk about, you will see people who have made great transitions in spite of, their circumstances in lifing for them. So I ask that you go back and watch all of that. Those episodes are amazing. They will bless your life. Thank you for watching in. I count it not robbery that you guys, I sound like an old saint. I count it not robbery that you guys come on and watch and tune in and share and all the rest of that. I really appreciate you. And I am here. I always tell you, I am here as a vessel from God to share the information and get it out here to inform, to inform you guys and give you encouragement and all of that. So if you watched my, the topic tonight is school social work. So we have the amazing Francess Gonzalez. She is here tonight to talk about school social worker. Who knew? Did you know? Oh, thank you. Producer in the back. Who knew there was a school social worker in a school? In some schools there are. I always thought the guidance counselor was the school social worker, but apparently they are not. Something new we're all learning today. So thank you for tuning in. And we are going to get our kids some tools and our parents some tools with this information. If you're here, say hi in the comments so I can acknowledge you. Thanks, Luz Ramos. Thank you for tuning in. Hot topics. Yeah, she is amazing. I watched her podcast. She was on a podcast with Jen, and I absolutely loved that podcast on YouTube. So you can even go watch that one. But yes, she's here and she is going to bless us with information and her knowledge and give us tools. So current affairs, I'm sure everybody's watching, like the Olympics, a lot going on in the Olympics. Like a lot of is track and field now. Are y'all watching track and field? Y'all let me say, the last episode or the one prior where I said they were doing like with the ice and the little shuffleboard thing, but it's not the Winter Olympics, and nobody really corrected me. I just realized that it's the summer and it's not there. Thank you all thank y'all. Correct me next time. So Kamala Harris picked her VP. Governor Tim Walz. Somebody said that, as Black people, we will always put a T at the end. It's WALZ, but we'll put a T at it. Governor Tim Walz, he is in Minnesota, over there where Prince is. They said that he, during his governorship, that he has made menstrual products made available publicly free in school bathrooms. So for that, I like them. When we were in grade school, you have your cycle, and then what happens? Say hi in the comments when you get here. You have your cycle, and then you're kind of like, you don't go to the nurse. You don't know what's going on. You don't have any products, any pads, any tampons, any of that. You kind of get your little toilet paper and stick her on in there until you can get where you're at. So I am thankful that he would put them in any bathroom because, as teenage girls or young women, I appreciate him putting that forward. Also, we can talk about, hi, Angel Pina. Hey, Patty Harold. Thank you for tuning in. If you're here, if you are watching, I ask that you share the page so that way we can get some viewers on here. Share the page if you can on your page. Yes, we are here to talk about school social working. Do you know about it? What do you know? School social work is not a guidance counselor. Two different things. We are here for that information. So yes, love her. Yeah, she's so amazing. So next up, we have to the stage. Affirmation. Let me do my affirmation first because I like to give that. So my affirmation for the week is appreciate where you are in life, even if it's not where you want to be. Every season serves its purpose. I love that. Everybody has seasons. In your 20s, there's a season. In your 30s, there's a different seasons. In your 40s, there's a different season. I feel like something really happens to women when we hit around that curve of 35. I think something magical happens in us. That's another show. I'd like to talk about it with a bunch of women, so maybe I'll do that. But yes, I feel like something magical happens and we're coming into ourselves over 35. So yeah, I would like to talk. New show. But yes, so appreciate where you are in life, even if it's not where you want to be. Every season serves its purpose. Good, bad, fall, winter, everything isn't going to be peaches and cream and I'm a testament to that, but we're going to push through our seasons, right? We're going to push. Oh, look at that. Hello. Applauso. It's from the Lord. So yes, God hears me and he appreciates what I'm doing. So yes, so thank you all for tuning in. If you can, share the page. Thank you for tuning in to episode number 14. Y'all, we are on episode 14. I thank you, my faithful people who have tuned in all the time. New people, thank you. Follow, like, subscribe, Facebook, YouTube, wherever I am, follow me. My podcast is good. I've been told that. People love it. I'm here. So I have some views coming in. So yeah, follow me. Let me know if there's something that you want to have on the podcast. Put in the comments. I'll go back and read them and figure out what's going on. But next on the stage, are you here, ma'am? We have next to the stage, we have, ma'am, how are you, gorgeous?
Oh, hello.
You look absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
You look, people look when people don't look exactly like their pictures, Yeah, no filter on you, ma'am. It's
Yeah.
it's
I
giving
mean,
everything in real life.
yeah. I mean, I did have to put a little bit of makeup on though, because it was, yeah, it was gonna be a little different, but not too different because I
Not
still look like myself.
but
But
I'm saying this is you. This is you. So are your glasses a thing?
yeah, my God, they're a huge thing.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
really? So when I stalked your page, you had all of these different types of glasses. Like it just how'd that happen for you? I know this is off the
Um,
beaten path.
no, it's fine. I can't see, so I can't see. And I tried contacts once and I drove home from Atlantic City at night almost blind because
Oh,
every time I blink, they would turn. Now, this was like 10 years ago.
uh-huh.
I never trusted it. And so I was like, all right, if I'm going to wear glasses, then they need to be fashionable and something I like. So, yeah. And they need to match my outfits and my vibe and how I feel that
Yeah,
day.
because you do like if you go on her Instagram, she does like an outfit of the week. Like you put all
Yeah.
your clothes together for the whole week.
Yes.
That's amazing. Like who is out here doing this?
With the glasses, so I don't have
With
to wear anything
oh,
over it. Mhm.
oh.
I
Hmm.
literally walk in my closet, pick up my hanger that has the glasses and everything on there, and, like, come out and
The
get dressed.
glasses are hanging on your hanger with the clothes?
Yep.
This yes, it's top tier organization. Wow. I I'm not even close to that. I'm like
I
digging in the bottom of the pocketbook for these. I was like, oh, they look like they match. But you
They
have
look good though.
thank you. So do yours. So these so how many glasses do you have? Like a lot?
Yeah. I just ordered 2 more, so I have about 31 now.
Jesus. And they all look amazing. Like they so fit your face. Yeah,
Mhm.
you look beautiful. I
Thank
like that.
you.
So, would you like to introduce? Somebody say yes, friend. I know that's right. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to become a social worker?
Okay, so I'm Frances Gonzalez. I am a school social worker. I've been doing this work for about 10 years. I'm going into my 11th year,
Hmm,
which is wild that it's been so long, but I'm going into my 11th year this school year. What inspired me? Life, trauma. I
wow.
Without getting too much into my business, which obviously if you ask any questions, I'll answer them, it's fine. But because of my own upbringing,
Hmm.
there was a lot of trauma and things that I experienced around school, not just school, but a lot of it was around school.
Yeah.
And I think that had someone been in the building to help me like navigate those situations, I mean, I may have still been crazy and ended up how I did. So, at this point, I wouldn't change any of it, but I think that there should have been more supports at the time because I'm adopted, so then it was that whole thing, and then
Yeah.
I was wilding in school. I ain't even gonna lie. So
So you like made you said I would like to see this in school. So that's the path you chose.
yes, so now that's
Wow.
me. I
Wow. So
am
you inspired yourself.
Yes, I am
I
who I
like
need to be.
that. You said there is no avenue here, so I'm gonna
Mhm.
make one. That's
Yes,
so inspiring. So what exactly does a school social worker do?
girl, everything. But no,
Everything.
okay, so there are school social workers that, depending on the school and the district, there are different things, right? So I
Okay.
worked in a school where I was just for the child study team. So I would only see kids who had counseling in their IEPs, which is an individual education plan. And they were my bread and butter. Those were the only kids I was supposed to see. And
Okay.
then I've worked in schools where I was there, but no one like really knew what I was supposed to be doing. And it was kind of like, oh, I need to figure this out. And so now anything that can help a child is what
Mhm.
I want to do. Right. Like if I can
Got you.
figure out how I can support kids and families and staff, then that is what I'm going to do. So that's a lot to say nothing, right? Like a lot of people be like, well, she ain't say nothing. My main job right now is individual counseling, group
Right.
counseling. Um, yeah, those are crisis interventions.
Inside the school.
Yes, in the school. And then I add a whole bunch of other stuff.
So what exactly is SEL, social emotional learning?
Oh man, I love, to me, SEL is, we need these children to be great people
Hmm.
when they grow up. Right.
Right.
And this is the way we do it. We are teaching kids their emotions. Not only are we teaching you the word, but what does it feel like
Yeah.
when you're anxious, right? Because do children get anxious? Absolutely. How do we teach them what it is and how it feels before we give them the word? I think that a lot of the times, a lot of SEL programs, we start with, okay, this is anxiety, but we're not teaching the kids, what does that feel like in your body? What does that look like on your person?
Oh,
Right? Like when you are anxious, what does that look like? A lot of SEL programs don't target that. It's
I
pretty
like
much
that.
like, yeah, it's pretty much like, okay, well, when you're upset, you should do this. Well, let's teach them how they feel when they're upset and the
Yeah.
different emotions. Like, I need you to take a minute and think, like, what am I going through right now? Is my heart beating fast, and
Right.
why? Am I sweating, and why?
So
Yes.
you go like super specific with the reasoning.
Very, very, very basic, because I can't help you regulate something if you can't really advocate for yourself. Because one of the things that I also want children to do, I don't care if you're 5, I need you to learn how to advocate for yourself. And this is what I'm feeling, right? So
Hmm.
when we talk about SEL, for me, I need to go bare bones,
Right.
very, very, very basic. With especially my kids are 5 to 10. Like the school that I'm
Okay.
in, it's K4, so they're little, and so
Little
I need
people.
them to learn right now that this is what these things feel like. These are these different emotions, and how can I support you through them?
So what is like you have an example you could give us of like some one of the not you not specific, but an
Are they gonna
example of
snatch
like
my
a case.
license?
We don't want that. They already doing that on TikTok, Shy.
Okay.
We don't want that. We need the commas to stay.
Yeah, that part. Well, anyway. Yeah, so if we are talking about, let's see what I can give an example of a kid being able to advocate for themselves and use what they've learned.
Yes.
Okay, so there is a student that well, I love all of my students, so there's that. But there was a student that would be very, very, like, upset about certain things.
Hmm.
And then we were able to it's so hard to tell this story without giving anything away. It's so hard. What I will say is
So if
there's
somebody has anxiety or they're
yes,
upset in the classroom and then they're being a little disruptive, what
yes.
happens? Like,
Okay,
let's walk through that then.
okay, so if someone's being disruptive, first of all, they're gonna call the deans, and then they gotta handle that part, right? But if it is something like, if it's one of my kids that's on my caseload, let's say it's a kid that's on my caseload and they
Hmm.
are having difficulties in the classroom, you're already on my caseload, so I'm gonna come check in on you, right? And one thing that I might do is I might sit in the classroom, see what's going on, see if, like, whether it is real or imaginary, if their response is valid, because all feelings are valid, just like your reactions are not. So you
What's
can
the
feel
imaginary? What's that imaginary part? If it's real or imaginary, what's that
right.
mean?
So if the threat, so to speak,
Oh, got you. Okay.
so if there are, a lot of the times, if there are kids laughing, other kids will assume that they're the ones being laughed at.
Right. Yes.
And it's like, okay, for you, that's real because you feel like this person is laughing at you or these people are laughing at you. Let's take a step back and let's
Hmm.
really walk through exactly what was happening. Was anybody looking at you? Were they talking to you? Did you hear them say anything to you? And if the answer is no, then what makes you think that they're laughing at you?
Wow.
Right? Oh, because I don't like them. Okay, that's fair. You ain't gotta like them. I ain't gonna tell you that you have to like them. You also can't assume that they are talking about you because you don't like them.
Right.
And so there's been times where we've been able to where I'll ask a student, okay, what spot are you right now? and they'll say, so we'll do check-ins. Like if they say they're a blue spot, right? Okay, why are you blue? Are you upset? Are you bored? Are you tired? Because those are all of the different feelings that go under this blue emotion. And so,
Can you explain SPOT to the viewer?
oh
Spots or
man.
what this is? It's a tool that you use?
Yes. I
Okay.
so I love Spot because like I talked about before, I like to go bare bones, very, 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 very basic. This is not
Mhm.
gonna be this is not something, well, you could use in high school, but this isn't something that someone's gonna use in high school.
Right.
So this is Spot is created by Diane Albert.
Mhm.
And she used to be an art teacher, which is another reason why I love it, because she was in the classroom. So she kind of knows, like, what actually helps like K2 kids basically learn certain things.
Right.
And so Spot it's a program where they talk about the 8 major emotions, which
Mhm.
are, oh, I probably can't remember all of them, but there's sad, anger, love, which I love because no one talks about love and acceptance, but
Not
that's
really.
yeah, exactly. There's anxiety, there's anger. Wait, I said anger. There's peacefulness, there's happy,
Peacefulness.
there's the new spot is time for learning. So like it's purple and it's like that's when you know that they're ready to learn. Um and did I say confidence? I don't know if I said
You didn't say confidence.
okay, yes, confidence. So those are the 8 spots. And those are the major emotions. And so under the major emotions, there are feelings. So let's say we talk about anger. So anger
Mhm.
is the emotion. And then
Okay.
the feelings under will be what mad, irritated, annoyed, frustrated. So those
Um,
are all of the smaller feelings that, if left to their own devices, will build up and become this huge emotion, which is anger. And so I
wow.
love how it explains that to students, uh,
Mhm.
also adults too. Um,
Hello.
so I just love the breakdown and how easy it is to like navigate that system. And so I love Spot. There's books that go along with it. There are activities at the end of the books to like make it sticky, uh,
Mhm.
which I also love. And when I say make it sticky, like for kids to remember this spot. And so
Yeah.
I go into a classroom and students compliment me. I can ask them, hey, what spot do you think that I'm feeling? And a lot of them will say
Mm.
pink, because that's love, right? And that's appreciation. And you guys are giving me compliments and I feel loved. And so
Oh, so is this something people can use at home? Because
yes,
I like this.
yes, yes,
I really
yes,
like it.
yes. Yeah,
So it's a book or is it cards or what like
so one of the things that Miss Albert is doing is she's expanding, which is great. So there's multiple books. She started off with just 8 books with just the
Mhm.
major emotions, but now there are so many books. And they're like, real quick, like read to your kindergartner type books. And
Yeah.
then she also has now that I also use conversation cards. So there's questions, there's so in my newsletter I'll put like the question of the week for the student. 9 times out of 10 it's going to come from my spot questions, so that
Ah.
it's connected to the emotion of the week. So there's questions. I just seen today actually that she has a board game that I will be getting to have at
Okay.
work.
So
Yeah.
the question of the week, can you give us like an example of like what you put it in your classroom? You have a classroom?
No, girl, no, I can't do it. Mm-mm.
Uh-uh. No. Girl, no.
No. I put it in my newsletter. So I do a weekly newsletter to communicate with staff and parents like what I'm doing.
Okay.
Because like I said earlier, there are some schools that they don't know what their social worker is doing. And so
Mhm.
I like to be very transparent, like, hey y'all, this is what I'm doing. All right. And then because can't nobody say I'm in here twiddling my thumbs. Like this
Right.
is what I'm doing. This is the information that I'm gonna share. So in my newsletter, there is the social skill of the week, so that they can practice their social skill. Whether it's something as simple as returning a greeting.
Yeah.
The coping skill of the week. So every single week there's a new coping skill with the instructions on how to do it. Because this is the thing. If I'm the only social worker in my
Mhm.
school, and so there's almost 400 kids. I
Wow.
can't see everybody. But what I can do is I can give these resources, and hopefully within our classrooms and within like the what parents are able to do at home, they're
Right.
able to practice these things with their kids. So in the newsletter, there's also my question of the week. I need to find
I
one of
like
the
that.
newsletters.
I
But
think I
yeah,
screenshot one,
yeah. So
one of
there's,
yours.
did you? I'm like looking now. Like I feel like I should definitely have one. But the question of the week is always fun because one of the things is I want kids to get comfortable talking to adults. And if we're talking about silly things like these silly questions, I really believe that the more comfortable a child is speaking to adult, the
Mhm.
more comfortable they are to talk about serious things.
Yes.
So I can talk to you about the weather. I can talk to you about your, your favorite color. I can talk to you about all these silly things, but I know that I'm building that trust that when something super serious comes up, you trust me enough to still talk to me about it. So that's like the whole premise behind like the social skill of the week and things like that.
I like that. I have it here and it says social skill. I know I screenshot it. Social skill of the week. Offer kind words to someone.
Yes.
So is that so this
So
would go home or this goes to the classroom?
that goes to, so okay. So it's yeah. So it goes to, it goes to the school, and
Mhm.
then I do a social work blast every week to let parents know what's going on. So then a copy will be put, it's like it's a digital copy. So it doesn't go home just because like all the paper,
Yeah.
But I do upload it to our parent communication. What do we
Oh,
use?
that's so awesome.
Yeah, so I upload it on there where all of the things is on there. I also will post these around the building
Oh,
just
that's
in
so
case,
cool.
you know. So yeah, I'm trying to get the information out there as much as I can.
So the emotionary is emotionary? Is that
Yeah,
what you
so
call it?
that is so funny because I found this. Okay, so one thing, another thing about me is I love to read. Like
Okay. Really?
love to read, right? And so I had found this book. I don't know where I was, but I had found this book and it said emotionary. It's an emotionary word. So it's like fake words for real feelings. So
Oh,
every week there's like an emotionary word of the week. Mostly that's really for the staff because it's like a funny little like, oh,
yeah.
like this isn't a real word, but I really do feel like that at times. So maybe it should be a real word. But on there should be the emotion of the week. And then a lot of the times, depending on the one that you screenshot, there might actually be like a card. I don't know why I didn't like make sure I had one of these. A card where it says like what the question of the week
Yes,
is.
student question of the week. How do you like to celebrate when you are able to accomplish something hard? That's what it
Yes, and
says.
yeah, and was that like the little blue circle?
Yes, with a little
Yes.
hat on it.
Yep,
Yes.
yep. So that's the celebratory spot.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah, so, like, I try to incorporate it, like, throughout everything, um,
Mhm.
because I want kids to learn. I want them to learn these emotions
These
and their
emotions.
feelings. I want them to be able to know what's going on within themselves, but then also able to look at someone else, and if you see, like, that they are upset, right? Maybe you can offer empathy. Empathy is also one of the feelings that they're taught, right? It's a pink emotion
Yeah.
because it's to show love. But yeah.
So these emotions can not only these spots, right? These spots
Mhm.
can not only be used for kids, but for the kids, but then the kids can also use them on like their peers and their
Yes.
parents to kind of identify like how people are doing like social cues. Is that
Yes.
yeah?
Yes. One of the things that I love is there was a student that was able to like he drew a blue spot and
Mhm.
I was able to be like, "Oh, you're sad." And then he's like, "Yeah, why?" Right? Like let's have this conversation because you drew the spot which signals to me
Yeah.
that you're sad. Let's talk about why you're sad.
So it kind of makes them it's a non-communicative way of reaching out. I
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
Come on, nonverbal. Blue spot. Pay attention here. I'm sad somebody. And if the whole school is doing it and the parents are aware, then they should already know, like, hey, do you guys want to color? How are you feeling? I love this.
Yes.
What does a typical day look like for you?
It really depends on the day. And the reason I say that is because I like to theme my days, right? So the same way I organize my clothes every Sunday, I need
Mhm.
to be able to organize my day based on the theme. So Mondays and Tuesdays, a lot of the times, is where I'll do individual counseling. All of my individuals get done during Mondays and Tuesdays. I love groups. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I love groups, and I love them because it allows kids to like learn from each other.
Yeah.
Then I also love like personalities, and so I say that to say my groups are normally held at the end of the week because it's
Mhm.
like super fun. And so let's say it's a Monday. Monday I'll come in. I need to do everything early for the most part because I'm a early bird gets the worm type of girl. Like
Yeah.
after 2 o'clock, listen,
Over.
I'm
Day
here
five
for
guys.
but
Yeah.
I will do so if I go into the classrooms, which I also love doing because it's kind of like a group vibe. So I'll normally do that early on a Monday, right? Like
Mhm.
8 o'clock in the morning, we're gonna do morning meetings, we're gonna go in here and do this. I also have chunks out of my Monday that will be like my no, get out, are you serious? Get out. Get out. Dad needs a laptop. I'm not playing.
See, parent, it's a parent. Now
Wow.
y'all know I told y'all.
Oh my goodness. What was I even saying?
Your
Oh,
schedule.
yeah. So on Mondays, like Mondays and Fridays, a lot of the times I will block off something called a work sprint. And
Mhm.
so what my work sprints are is pretty much on Mondays is for me to set up my week. So what are all the things that I need to do this week and how
Yeah.
can I schedule it in a way that is beneficial to me because it's my schedule.
Right.
And so that's about an hour and a half out of the day. So Mondays is normally that. I'll do all my individuals on Mondays. If I have an intern, a lot of the times, actually, I don't have interns come in on Mondays because I need my Monday to myself
Yeah.
to like figure out my week. Tuesdays is almost the same thing as Mondays, but on Tuesdays, that's where I'll work on my newsletter. I also do a question of the day, like a daily question that goes home
Mhm.
to parents. I'll normally do that during my work sprint time on Monday.
Nice.
Wednesdays and Thursdays are my group days. So those are heavy group days. That's when I'm doing my lunch groups.
Mhm.
So I do a reading group during lunch. And so I do them on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Whatever groups I'm doing in the morning on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And then Fridays, my work sprint is pretty much to clean up whatever I didn't do.
From the week.
Yes. Yes. So it's very, yeah.
Okay. So what are some common issues that you face with the students, and like how are you adjusting? What tools do you use?
So because our kids are so young, I like to say they are literal babies. They're like
Yeah.
5 to 10. The concerns are always like developmental in terms of like what type of person you're going to be, right? So do
Mhm.
you have coping skills? Do you have social skills? Do you know how to play with people? Do you know how to say no, I don't want to play with you? And when you say that, you don't have to be mean. You can like be kind about it.
Yeah. I
Those
like.
are the biggest like things that I focus on. Of course, there's going to be like crisis situations. There's going to be like home situations for some. There's going to be like these different things that like you just deal with because it's life. But
Yeah.
the major things is really like, do these students have the skills that they need to be great functioning adults in America or
I
wherever they
love
go?
that.
It might not be America.
So
Wherever
you
they
set
want to
you,
go.
you try to set like a base, a foundation for them,
Yes.
for their emotions.
Yes.
I love that. So you are not a guidance counselor.
No. No.
Everybody got that.
Um, I don't even know outside of like preparing you for college, maybe. I don't
Mhm.
know the work of a guidance counselor. I know they doing it because I ain't gonna say nothing crazy about nobody's job. They doing it.
Right.
Um
But you're not it. That's
that's
not
yeah,
you.
that's not me. And it's also like the difference between a school social worker and a school counselor, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not a school counselor. Again, I don't know what school counselors do. So I'm not
Yes.
I just know it ain't what I do. Um, that's all I know. So
Right.
my kids, my sons, they go to school where we live, and they have school counselors. Well, I don't know what the elementary school has. I
Right.
don't know what
Disclaimer.
the elementary
I
school
don't know
has.
what they do.
I don't know, but I know the middle school. Does the middle school have one? I don't know. My oldest son is in high school, and I know the high school has school counselors, and their school counselors is like help you pick your schedule, and like I guess that's it. I don't know.
We have
Um,
a
yes.
question from one of our viewers. Kat, thank you for watching. She says, what are your best strategies to help children with self-regulation?
Okay.
She's in
So
education too.
I'm sorry, say that again.
She's in education.
Okay.
Yeah.
So number one is going to the only way we can help kids really self-regulate outside of like, yes, you want to tell them to take deep breaths, yes, you want to send them to go get some water, you can send them to the bathroom, take a walk, take this to the office, all the things that like we already use. The first step is we have to create the language and the space for kids to understand what is going on with them to begin with, because it's really hard to have a child self-regulate and they still feel like they're not being heard.
What exactly is self-regulation for
So,
those who don't know?
yes, so self-regulation is like learning to deal with your emotions appropriately,
Okay.
right? So if
Okay.
you're angry, obviously you're not going to flip a desk. Well, some might. You're not supposed to flip a desk when you're
Right.
angry. Okay? Let's be very clear. You're not supposed to flip a desk if you're angry. But some kids do, because they are just so angry that that's what they do. And so now when and if a child does that, we are now talking about disciplinary action and not exactly what's going on with that kid. And
Mhm.
so when we talk about self-regulation, not saying we shouldn't talk about the discipline when it comes to that, but we need to figure out how to get kids to like take a deep breath. Yes, you are angry. I need you to either tell me you're angry, right? Or
Mhm.
ask for a break. But we have to teach them how to do that.
How to
Which
communicate that they
how to
are angry.
communicate that, how to I always say how to advocate for themselves. Which
Okay,
is
I like that.
difficult. I think it's difficult for teachers because like they be doing a lot. Like a
The
lot.
teachers.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's a
So
different world apparently
yeah,
than where we
it's
come from.
wild. And so I know that for me as a social worker, I sit in this space that, like, for lack of a better term, it's a pretty privileged space to say, hey, we have to teach kids how to, how to talk about their emotions. Like, yeah, you can say that. I need to get done this lesson in 30 minutes.
Right. They in here cutting up. Come
So
get them. Go take them with
yeah,
you and go talk about emotions. Regulate them
exactly.
till they get back.
Exactly. So I understand that. I just want to be very clear that I understand and I know that there are things going on. And so that's why I try to do the type of work that I do and trying to help everyone understand what these emotions are so that when a kid does get upset, they
Mhm.
can say, I'm in the red.
Got you.
I'm getting there. Like,
Yeah.
can I, go talk to somebody? So I would say if you have a school social worker or if you have any type of support, to start with teaching kids their emotions first
Mhm.
and take a breath, take a breath. Like, what do you need? What do you need from me right now? We're gonna deal with the desk, we're gonna deal with all of that
Yeah.
because you can't do that. Okay, I
Right.
don't care how upset you get, you can't do that. But we have to teach them that this is what's going on and I'm gonna support you.
Yeah. And what are you feeling?
Yes.
Right? So is that's like a good base to start at. What are you
Yeah.
feeling?
Yes, and then if you don't have that, we all start with a deep breath. Everybody take a
Right.
deep breath. Somebody's upset, everybody take a deep breath right now.
And
Let's
then get some
like
water, like water helps.
yes, yes, it does. Oh my gosh. Water is it's it's a great for helping like to because it's almost like when you do take a really deep breath as well, it's almost like the things like recalibrating your brain and you can think
Yeah.
clearly. One of the things when I have groups and like let's say I have like route, because sometimes I have rowdy groups, right?
Mhm.
The kids always know when I'm getting upset because I will take the deepest breath of my life, right? Like I close my eyes and I'm like, and then the kids are always like, all right, stop, 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 stop. She's getting upset. She's getting upset.
There you started yelling out a color.
Yeah, no, not at that moment. I'm like, you know what? Or when I start whispering, like,
Yeah.
y'all, because when I start whispering, we know it's an issue because I'm loud all the time. So when I start
Yeah.
whispering, it's like, all right, we about to end this group early because y'all wilding.
Right, because y'all cutting up. We all have another question in the comments. Thank you guys for your comments. If you have some, put your questions in the comments. What advice do you have for someone starting fresh as a school social worker with the child study team? That's your background, right?
Who
You
mine?
were you did a little bit of IEP, you were
Yeah.
saying.
Well, I've never written an IEP. So
Mhm.
my job with the child study team is like, all right, y'all say this kid need counseling, I'm gonna counsel this kid. So you know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah,
don't really do that. That's left to the school psychologists and all those. So my advice would be number one, get your what is expected of you. Get your expectations up front, right? Because there are
yeah,
times where I can say for myself, there were times where I was doing all of this work. It was like, yes, this is like social work. This is amazing. And then I'm told, like, hey, that's not really, it's cute. It
right.
was really cute of you to do, but that's not like what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
So being in as long as I have been, I would say get with your direct supervisor as ASAP as soon as school starts. Like, hey, what are my expectations for this year? So that
Yeah.
you're very clear. I would also say that when I first started, there was not much support out, but there's this book. It's called the School Social Work Toolkit that I got off of Amazon. Hopefully it's still there. And after 11 years, all of my interns, I tell them, get this book
Wow.
because it's going to walk you through communication with parents. It's going to walk you through different activities that you can do in groups. It's going to walk you through workshops, and it's going to like really walk you through those things to like help you create your school social work program.
Can you
Um,
give the name of the book again?
yes, it is the School Social Work Toolkit.
The School Social Work Toolkit.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Awesome.
And that's my thing. Like when I have my interns, I tell them every single year, my goal for you guys is to
Mhm.
create your school social work program that
Right.
you can plug into any school.
I like
So
that.
you need to have, what are the things that you want to do? What are the groups that you want to run? Right?
Yeah.
Like what are the things that you want to do and create the programming around that. So when you go to another school, yes, you take your expectations, but you're able to like tweak the things that you already know that you want to do.
Got you. I like that. And I like that you have interns and like you're mentoring. That's so is it a lot of people going into this field?
Um, that I don't know. I will say that I have an intern every single year.
Gotcha.
One year I had 4 interns, and I was like, oh, I had to put a cap on it because I
Trying
said,
to work
oh,
you too hard. Get my
my
work
man
done.
is 2 now. 'Cause
Right.
um, but yeah, the girl that I had last year, she didn't actually want to be a school intern. She definitely is going to be a social worker, but she definitely had like a different trajectory of what she
Yeah.
wanted to do.
Okay.
But school social work is one of those jobs that people want.
Yeah.
People want to do them,
It sounds
especially.
rewarding though.
Yeah, especially if you are in a school where you are appreciated and valued and
Right.
respected and your opinion is like trusted.
Yeah.
Yes, though it can be very rewarding in those moments.
So you want to give a recap to people who have just came on the emotions. What exactly are the emotions that we're talking about when we talk about blue, red, pink?
Spot. So yeah,
Ah,
so a little spot of emotion. Yeah, those are the different emotions that we are talking about. So for my kids, if they tell me that they're in the what the pink, I'm gonna ask, okay, you're in the pink. So that means you're feeling loved or appreciated, or you're showing empathy to someone.
yeah.
Or if they are in the orange, which is confidence, great. So that means that you are feeling brave, right? That you are grateful.
Mhm.
What are the then also gray is a really interesting one too because that's anxiety, but then we also talk
Ah,
about worry that's under anxiety. And so even within worry we have to talk about the difference between good and bad worry because there is a good and bad worry. And so when
I
we talk
like
about
that.
good worry, that's going to be the worry that says, okay, I want to ride my bike, but I should probably put my knee pads on, right?
Right.
Because, or put my helmet on because I
Yeah.
could get hurt. That's a good worry because it's moving you towards like, yes, okay, I do need to do this. But then if we talk about like bad worry, which is like our spinning worry, when we
Mhm.
are really concerned about things, when, one of the questions of the week was like, what keeps you up at night? And my biggest thing was like, girl, bills.
Worried.
That's gonna be my
Great.
worry. So now I'm 3 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out like carry the one, like, all right.
Yeah.
So
So how do you identify children that need your help? Do the teachers bring them to you, administration, or
girl, if I let that happen, everybody in the school will be seeing me. No. So the way that my organization sets it up for kids to come to me is either through their IEP. So,
Mhm.
if something's been recognized that's like, okay, this kid can benefit from either individual or group counseling. That's one way. That's actually the major way
Okay.
for kids to come to me. And then the other way is something called INRS, which is Intervention and Referral Services, which is pretty much a program to help us teach kids in a different way before
Mhm.
we go the IEP route. Okay.
Gotcha.
And so by the time we are in INRS, it's like, okay, if they are in INRS for behavior issues, what can we do to combat that so that they don't end up in the specialized services world? So that's two major ways. Now, because I am team do too much all the
Yeah, come on.
what I do is I will send, because again, right, going back to what I said before, I love groups,
Yeah.
legit love groups. And so I always have different groups that I want to run regardless. Like I want to do, one year I realized that like our when we had fifth grade, our fourth and fifth grade girls like really needed help with like monitoring their moods and like things like that. So I
Oh,
created a mood monitoring group, right? Like you
like
see what's
that.
going on, you create that group. And so what I do is I will list all of the groups that I want to run, and then I send that list home to parents, and then
Mhm.
parents actually sign their kids up for different groups. So
Oh,
the
that's so
parents,
cool.
yeah, the parents will sign their kids up for like coping skills, social skills, anger management, mood monitoring. I wanted to do like an incarcerated parent group, but that it was a lot that we're
Was
gonna have to go into that. So we ain't gonna do that.
it's after school program.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I send these groups the letters home to parents. The reason I do that is because my children that I gave birth to are really compliant kids. And so what I mean by that is like for the most part, the second one a little sketchy. So, they will do whatever they are supposed to do. And so
Right.
because of that, they go under the radar. They are not like put forth for any type of services because they're good kids.
They're not the troubled.
Exactly. And so because I know that my youngest son deals with anxiety, which a lot of the times teachers won't know that because he's doing the things he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But what they'll notice is that he's going to the nurse a lot, right? He's
Wow.
going to the bathroom a lot. He's doing these things. And it's for me, when they tell me, I'm like, it's because he's anxious, y'all. No, I
Right.
don't need to take him to the doctor to see if like he needs a urine sample. He's anxious. He's
Yeah.
not in there using that bathroom.
Got to get out of here.
And
He's need a
play.
break.
Right. And so, because I know that about my own kids, that's why I send this letter home for parents to sign their kids up because they know their kids better than I know their kids. So,
Right.
you tell me what your baby need, and if I can do it, I'm going to work my hardest to get it done.
So even if, like you said, with your son, they're not in the classroom causing havoc, as you said you did when you was a little
Oh yeah,
younger.
I'm Wally.
If they're not in a classroom causing havoc, they can still benefit from like these services
Yes,
that
for
you issue
me. Not
for
all
you,
social workers do that.
from you
For me,
in
I
your
will
school
also.
district.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I will also go into a classroom, right? If I know that this classroom needs supports, I'm gonna go into this classroom and do 1 year or a couple years. I've done like growth mindset, right? In
Mhm.
the third grade classroom because third grade is a hard grade coming from second grade where they're literally babies, and then third grade they're testing. And so yeah, we need to oh, where you go?
Who?
Hold on. Okay, there we go. because my phone is connected to my laptop, and so when it rings, everything just like disappears.
Oh, okay.
But yes, so I will go into classrooms
Mhm.
to see like different kids or whatever the case is in a whole group setting so that they can also benefit from services. Again, that is for me.
Yes.
That is not a requirement of my job. It's not a requirement of the social workers that work for my organization. I do it because I have like this background knowledge of like, this is what I needed. And I think that
Yeah.
this is what other kids need. So I'm going to do it.
So you said there's a jump from 2nd grade to 3rd grade. My
Yeah.
grandson is doing that. So what should I expect and how can I help?
Yeah, so 3rd grade is where so I don't know if you've ever heard like in like kinder to 2nd grade where kids are learning to read and then
Mhm.
3rd grade up they are reading to learn.
Yeah.
So it switches, right? Like they're
Yeah.
reading for fun in 2nd grade and in 1st grade. It's like, "Oh, this is fun. I'm learning how to do it." But in
Right.
3rd grade, no, you need to know
Right.
how to
They
do
have
it.
comprehension now.
It's not for fun no more. Like
Right.
you need to figure it out. And so it is a huge jump that not many people recognize, many people see, and know that there's no state testing in 2nd grade. In 3rd grade, there is. So not only are
Okay.
you now having to learn how or having to read to learn, but now everything that you are learning is going to be tested at the end of the year.
Wow.
And so you have to retain it. And so it's a huge, huge jump. I often say like 2nd grade to 3rd grade is where we have our babies that turn to kids from that switch.
Yeah.
Like you are a baby in 2nd grade and 3rd grade, it's 3rd grade. Like what you mean?
Right. Like
I
make
can't
some
really just
shapes.
test
Let's
you.
go. You should be knowing that.
Exactly. Exactly. So
So
it,
that's good to like with your emotions, like your
yes,
spots to know what you're feeling. Are you anxious? Are you
yes.
nervous?
Yes.
Got you.
And so I do a lot of like growth. I try to do a lot of growth mindset type situations in 3rd grade because it's hard for kids. And I think us as grown people, we're like, oh, it's just 3rd grade. No, it's 3rd grade. It's big. It's a big, big deal.
Oh, I really didn't think about like kids going from 2nd grade and there are no tests and then here comes 3rd grade and then you're like put out there when you've
Mhm.
never really had a test before. So that's a lot of like some anxiety. What can you tell the parents who have like these kids that are transitioning? Like what can you give them to help?
Yeah. So for the transition in 3rd grade, the biggest thing I would say is like taking the time to explain to the kids that it's a huge jump. One of the things that I've learned, at least for my own kids, is when they know up front, they're more willing to take on the challenge, right?
Okay.
Like
Prepare them.
yes, like letting them know, like, hey, this is different. And so we need to, even if we have to do things differently at the house, does this mean that you now get more responsibility at the house? Because
Mhm.
in school, you're going to have more responsibility. Right.
Right.
And so really having that conversation with them, but then also if you are able to find just like 2 to 3 different like anxiety type techniques to teach them,
Mhm.
that's another thing because when they do start to feel anxious, like what do you do? What do you do in that moment? So one of the things that my kid, youngest son does, and his favorite thing is something called rocks and socks. So when he gets really angry, he is to tighten his entire body, right? Like
Mhm.
tight his hands, like really, really tight, like a rock. Hold your breath, all of that, and then release like socks,
Ah,
right? And then you tighten it, and then you release. And so just like teaching them at least 2 to 3 different skills that will work for them that they're able to use in the moment.
okay. We have a comment from Kat. She said the 2nd to 3rd grade is where she said, and that shift is where we see those students be having behavior and meltdowns when academics are not differentiated to meet them where they are.
Yeah.
So, who is that on? Is that from your professional perspective? Who, like, how do you blend the melt? It's with the meltdowns and behaviors and
So in that comment, there's so many different departments that need to be working.
yeah.
In that, from the social work lens, I am going to help you like recognize this
Mhm.
and use a coping skill to help minimize the impact of it. right?
Okay.
I cannot, as the social worker, I'm not in the classroom. I'm not differentiating. I'm not doing anything.
Right.
My concern is you as a child. Yes, this is real.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we can do, right?
Right.
Then when you talk about like the other stuff, that is going to be on the specialized services, that is going to be on our sped teachers, that is going to be on the teacher, like that is for them to like figure out how to differentiate and get this child
Yeah.
the services that they need. But me as a social worker, come here, look me in my eyes,
Mm-hmm.
take a deep breath, and let's figure this out.
So you just go get them out the classroom and say, "Hey, come here," or
It
how does
really
that?
depends. It depends. Again, if it was like a like a behavior, like a huge behavior, they're gonna start with discipline first because that's like safety first. Let's get
Mhm.
this like under control. After the kid is like taken care of, then I'm gonna see you and we're gonna talk about like, well, what happened? Because with me, one thing I tell kids, you're not getting in trouble when it's me. So there's no need to be upset. There's no need to be scared. There's like none of those things. I'm not doing nothing for you to get in trouble, like at
So
all.
you're a safe space for them.
Yes.
I
Which
love
is
that.
why I do not answer anything that has to do with discipline. Like when it
Yeah.
comes to I want no part. I don't want to talk about what you did on the bus in terms of discipline. I don't want to talk
Mhm.
about whether you were in school or not. That is none of my business, so to speak.
Right.
My business is how can I support you? I need you to feel safe and I need you to feel understood. And I need you to know that if you don't think anybody else is listening to you, you know Miss Gonzalez is going to listen to you. Like that's it.
I
I'm
love
gonna
that.
listen. So yeah, so if it's a huge behavior where it becomes like a disciplinary situation, that's the first step. Again, if it's a kid that I'm seeing often and everybody knows like, hey, this is one of the kids on your caseload and
Mhm.
they can use some support, a lot of the times, which I love, like teachers will text me like, hey, this kid is having a difficult time. Should I call should I call for disciplinary or should I like send them to you? Can you
Right.
check in? Which I love that that's what I have with my teachers. Like, text me real quick because I also don't want kids getting in trouble.
Right.
I don't,
For behavior where they're learning about themselves.
yeah, I don't find joy in punishing children. So if we can figure out what's happening beforehand, and you text me real quick and I say, all right, send them to me or whatever the case is. Now there's
Mhm.
sometimes it's like, all right,
Right.
go see them other people because you know you was wilding.
You cutting up now.
Like you doing a lot. But before we get there, like, what's up? Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So Zakia wanted to ask, could you discuss prison to pipeline assessment based on these third grade scores? She said, woo, woo, child. Was that you was gonna put woo, child? Yeah. So based on these scores, right? From these kids, because now they're testing, like what really happens with that? Because it is a thing, it is an issue, and it is a thing in the Black community and the Brown community with the prison pipeline assessment. I do have background in prison, and I've worked in a youth facility in prison, and those I'll say they're kids because they're 16 to 21 and they're not fully developed and they have these, no foundation of doing or dealing with their emotions. Can we talk about that part and what you're doing? What are you doing to help that?
Yeah, yeah. So it's a little, what I will say is that we know that this is a real issue, right? The school to prison pipeline, we know that this is a real problem.
Mhm.
What I say when it comes to testing and even when it comes to like specialized service testing, um, my issue, let me get on my little soapbox. This ain't,
Okay.
I'm not representing nobody, y'all. This is what Francess Gonzalez is saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Disclaimer.
Yeah. Okay. I have an issue with Black and brown children being tested by standards that's not from our community. I have a problem with Black and brown children having to be a part of systems that do not benefit our community. Because we test different. right?
Right.
Things mean different things to us.
Correct.
If
Words.
I am one of the things that I do with students is I joke with students. Like we going back, I will crack on a student and a student will crack on me because that's
Right.
what we do. That's our
The
relationship.
culture.
Yeah, yes. And so someone else though that is not from this culture can easily say, "Oh, he's being disrespectful."
Right.
No, he not. Like we're joking. Like this is what
Yeah.
we do. And so a lot of the times testing, I'm just like, whose standard is that?
Yeah.
Like who said that? When we say that kids can't control their emotions, it's not that they can't control their emotions, it's just that you didn't like the way that they responded.
Ooh, that's good.
That's
Say it,
different.
say it again. Say it again for the people watching.
That's not that they can't control their emotions. You didn't like it.
Right.
So just say that. But that doesn't mean like one of the biggest things I have an issue with is when we talk about respect. They're being disrespectful. Well, what does that
Child,
mean?
child, they being
What does that
disrespectful.
mean?
To
What does that
who?
mean? Like honestly, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I remember I was at my oldest son, his teacher told me in third grade,
Oh, right.
that he was being disrespectful. And I asked, like, what exactly did he do? Right.
Right.
I want to know because I don't play disrespect. Let's just be
Right.
very clear. I don't play that. When it comes to my kid, listen, they already know. Don't
Yeah.
get in this school embarrassing me. So when you say that my kid is disrespectful, I need to know what did he do?
Right.
What did he say? And so I remember she said, "Oh, he when I asked him to do something, he took a deep breath before he did it."
So he can't breathe now?
Did he
Girl.
say, did he say anything? I asked her, I said, "Did he say anything back to you?" No. Did he do it? Yeah. Ma'am, I don't understand what the problem is. Because let me tell you something. Holding a child to a higher standard than we hold ourselves. How many times you cussing a person out in front of you because you got road rage?
Right.
But you mad that he took a deep breath before he did what you told him to do? I
Does he
need you
not
to
have
understand the
grace?
difference.
Get his thoughts together?
Yeah, that's not disrespect. Because me personally, if you ask me to do something I don't want to do, I'm gonna be like,
Right.
and so I say that to go back to this testing situation.
Yeah.
We're talking about who's testing. We're talking about the standards of testing.
Right.
And we're talking about the things that a lot of these tests are not culturally competent. Um,
That's good. They're not. Like a lot of our kids don't even I mean, the American language in itself with 5 different words that all mean the same thing or spelled different, it's ridiculous
yep.
for these kids to even try to understand at that point. And then you want them, okay, can I take a deep breath? I can't. So I'm not giving you what you're expecting of me, but I'm a good kid. Now you're
Exactly.
singling me out saying my daughter was saying that's what she went through with her middle son. Like the teacher wanted engagement and he's just not an engaging kid. He's doing
Exactly.
his work, no problem in the class. And she was like, oh, well, this kid isn't, and he isn't participating, or I ask him a question and he answers, but he doesn't give me anything else. Girl, what else you want from him? You
Right.
gave me
You
the
ask the
answer.
question. Like,
Yeah.
and
Like
then
let the
be in
kids
situations
learn
like that.
themselves.
So when we talk about like the emotional well-being of a child, if you have a child that is not one that feels comfortable speaking out loud or whatever the case is, we're not thinking about
Yeah.
that, right? Like we're not thinking about the stress that we're causing this child. We're not thinking
Yeah.
about how the anxiety that we're putting them through. We're not thinking about the anger that we could be sparking
Yeah.
because if you do, I remember at a previous school, I remember this teacher had a student that like did not like to be like publicly corrected, was like this student was not with it, right? And
Yeah.
so one thing that this teacher did, which I loved, was all of his corrections for this student specifically went on a post-it note. So he would write it on a post-it and put it on
Mhm.
the student's desk. Because you gonna get this correction, but
Right.
maybe I don't need to call your name out loud if I know that you're
Right.
one that's gonna like fly off the handle.
So
So
and you treat everyone different. Like you can't
yes,
be like linear straight across the board. You have to be like, okay, there are different personalities for everyone. And if this kid is not a talker, then you shouldn't point him out. He ain't raising his hand to answer your question. Why are you pointing him out? Now you're giving him anxiety. Now he don't want to talk.
mhm. And
Yeah.
then that's when they call me and say, "Oh, the students shut down." Yeah, well,
Do you blame them?
what are you talking about?
Yeah. So what do you do when they call you in the classroom and they're like the students shut down? Are you sitting observing, or are you taking them like in the hallway and have a little chit chat?
So depending on the student, because
Mhm.
I like to think that I have like pretty personal relationship with a lot of the students. I will not say
I love
all.
your personality though. As a kid, I
Yeah,
would love, love, love to go see you and be like, "Girl, I'm mad, I'm angry. I don't know what's
yeah,
going on."
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so depending on the kid, a lot of the times if it's an older kid, I will tell the teacher, like, hey, ask them if they want to come see me. Because I'm also not in the business of forcing kids to come see me. Okay. If a
Yeah.
child is upset enough to be like, I don't want to talk to her right now, okay. That's
Yeah.
guys, that's fair. They don't want to do it because there's times I don't want to talk to people.
Right.
Um, and so if it's one of the older kids, I will ask, like, hey, ask them if they want to come see me. If they want to come see me, great. If they don't want to come see me and it's like horrible, then I will come down to the classroom and, try to peek in. Like, I'll ask the kids. My first question is like, do you want to talk right now? And if they say no, I'm walking away.
Because that does what? You're
Like,
respecting.
yeah, like it respects that. First of all, no is a complete sentence. And the
Mhm.
same way grown people are allowed to say, no, I don't want to talk right now, so are children. They don't want to talk. And then what's crazy is when we do talk to children that don't want to talk and then they say something crazy, now you in trouble
Now
because
you're
you
mad.
done said something wild. That's not
They
fair.
said they ain't want to talk. They said no. So
Exactly.
for parents who are watching, if you ask the kids and they say they don't want to talk about it, they should not push.
No.
Okay.
Not if they're in a heightened like sense. Like if they are heightened emotionally, no. I don't listen, let me tell you something. My okay, my 15-year-old, obviously I have two boys. And so no one talks about like the emotional whatever that boys go through when they're
The growth.
going
Yeah.
through puberty because it's
Yeah.
just as bad as girls. It's just they don't have their monthly. Like let's
Right.
just like call
Yeah.
it what it is.
Yeah.
And so my oldest son, he learned real quick that listen, you are well within your right to be upset about whatever you're upset about. You are well within your right to feel how you feel. What I need you to do though is you need to communicate to me or your dad that you want to be alone and that you don't want to be bothered, right?
Mhm.
Because I will respect that. You can go to your room. What I won't respect is the fact that you don't want to be bothered and now you over here like talking crazy to me because now we got another problem.
Right.
So I need you to advocate for yourself and say, I don't want to talk right now. Okay, I'm gonna leave you alone. Now, being that I am your mom and I am a social worker, once you calm down, we cool. I'm circling back.
Right. Spin the
Like, what's
block.
up? Yeah, like what's up? Like, you good now? Okay, cool. Can we talk about earlier? Like, what was going on? Like, how
Yeah.
were you feeling? What were you thinking? Is it something I could have done? I also allow my kids to tell me when I'm getting on their nerves. Granted, you can't say you getting on my nerves, but like, let
Right.
me know when I'm getting on your nerves because sometimes it could be me. And so, yeah, tell me. Even when I'm at school, if a kid is like, Miss Gonzalez, I don't want to talk to you. Get out my face. Okay,
And then you going.
I'm leaving.
Right.
And then what happens is once they calm down, cool, we're gonna have a conversation. Hey, so I get that you're upset. You have the right to be upset. You don't have the right to be disrespectful though. So next time when you're
Mhm.
upset, just say, hey, Miss Gonzalez, I'm really upset. I don't want to talk right now. That sounds way different than Miss Gonzalez, get out my face.
Right. So it's a teaching moment.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that. So how I got 1,000 questions, chair. How do you deal with bullies and that type of thing? You specifically if y'all follow Miss Gonzalez she on TikTok and Instagram, she's gonna leave her stuff somewhere. But she is so amazing. And thank you guys for tuning in. But yes, how do you specifically, if that's a thing in your school, like how do you navigate that part with bullies?
Yeah, so I in my school, I don't actually like deal with like the bullying situation if that makes sense. Like I
Mhm.
don't do the investigations. I don't That's another department,
Right.
okay? So
Mhm.
that's not my thing. However, when the kids do come to talk to me, which they do, they tell me all day business. Okay. So they do. And they tell me all their parents' business too.
A
So
safe space. It's a safe space.
yeah, I know all your business. Um but what I do when kids do come and they talk to me and they say they're being bullied, my first thing is like, all right, say what you need to say. All right, I'm gonna listen. And then I need you to understand and me, is this actually bullying or is this person picking on you? Because there's a difference, right? And then if we look at the
Okay.
state statute, which it's a state statute.
It's the state statute.
Um,
All
you
right.
you know. Um but when we look at like the definition of bullying, what you're
Mhm.
saying right now doesn't meet this criteria. So is it bullying or is it that you're still trying to be friends with this person that don't want to be friends with you?
Oh, I love that you like have it bare bones, as you
Yes.
said. It's bare bones conversation with kids
Yes.
because sometimes that could be what it is. And it is not the bullying. It's, hey, I want to be their friend and they don't want to be my friend. So
Mhm,
now I'm putting myself on them and going around them. Now, are you agitating them because they don't want
mhm.
to be bothered with you? And in
Exactly.
turn, you might think that it's they're bullying you.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Girl, it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot. It's it's a lot. So how do you, like, work with administration? Like, is that and the teachers? Like,
Oh,
is that
man.
a
Yeah, I love my teachers, man. Love them.
yeah?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're at a charter school. Everyone should
Yes.
at a charter school.
Yes, yes. One of the things that we're a system. Oh no, I'm not at Camden Charter. That's a
No,
different
no,
school.
sir.
There's so many charter schools
Yeah,
I can't even know. So, um, but yeah, so they I believe in like the systems approach when working with kids. And so
mhm,
what that means is like I believe in working with everybody that interacts with this child.
yeah,
And so I'm working with I'm working with my teachers. I need my teachers to also understand that I'm a safe space.
yeah,
Like y'all, I'm not here to pass judgment or nothing. Like if y'all need to come, we can talk or whatever the case is. And so working really closely with teachers is like one of my favorite things to do. I run a lot of ideas that I might have to my teachers because 9 times out of 10, it's going to be something that they got to do. So
right.
I'm like, hey, y'all, I was thinking X, Y, and Z. What do you guys think about this? Also, y'all in the classroom and I'm not. So what does it look like? Am I taking up too much time? Is this being
Yeah,
too ambitious? And so I love working with my teachers. And the same thing with like administration, right? Like
yeah,
I just love a space where I can just like do my thing. And I've been blessed to for the majority of my career,
mhm.
I've been blessed to be in that space.
I love that. I love that you it sounds like there is a need. You could probably, like somebody said you should clone yourself. But I feel like you could, like, hold some I know you have mentors and all of that, but I really like that you can go out here and teach these other social workers. I love your style. I love
Thank
all of
you.
that. Yeah, it's so amazing. So, one question we have, from our audience is, do you have pre-K students on your caseload, and how do you address their issues? Excuse
I do not. My school is K4. So we have no preschool kids. Kindergarten kids, 9 times out of 10. I work very closely with I try to work really closely with like most of the parents that
Yeah,
I if I'm this is the thing. I'm a mom first, right? And
yes.
so I say that to say if I'm working with someone's child, I know I know for myself, if you working with my kid, you better say something to me. Like, who are you?
Yeah,
And so my big thing is like I try very hard to like build relationships with parents and like make sure that I'm reaching out. And so I
mhm,
say that to say kindergarten parents specifically, because they are fresh babies. You do not
yes,
play with kindergarten through second grade parents because listen, they the ones that they gonna be there as soon as you call because it's
yeah,
literally their baby. And so if I have interaction outside of the groups that parents have already signed their kids up for, any other types of interactions with a kindergarten kid, I need to work with your parent, like because you're 5. I need
yeah.
to talk to your mom and see what's up. So yeah, I would assume that if I had pre-K students, it would be much of the same, but I don't have pre-K students. So
Got you. Jen said you should start a consultation service. And I totally agree. Here, you heard it here first. That way, that way, when your kids in a little while, y'all school social worker will go on over here to Miss Frances Gonzalez, Mrs., and then she's going to teach your school social workers how to this little bubble and emotions and all of that. So there is a question that says, has immigration migration multiplied in your school?
yeah.
You say
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a really high immigrant population. Is that proper? Is that the right way to say it? Because I don't want to
Um,
offend nobody.
not
I don't know,
intentional.
y'all.
Right.
I don't know. What we what I did last year, and I think I will be doing next year's too, is so there were a lot of like, new students to to the country.
Yes.
I call them our newcomers, right? Like
Okay.
they were new to the country. And the year previous to last year, like you understand that this is like traumatic for
Mhm.
a child, regardless of how they got to America. It's very traumatic for adults
Right.
to leave like your home country and have to go somewhere else.
Mhm.
For whatever reason, it's traumatic. And so when we talk about children leaving their friends, leaving their families, leaving their schools and the people that they trusted or whatever, and they're coming to this new place where most of the people don't speak my language,
Right.
right? And like I'm talking to you in English, but you only speak Spanish.
In their life.
It's traumatic. And so outside of ESL services, there's no services that not that I know of, because if
Okay.
somebody knows something, let me know. That will
Any
target,
comments?
yeah, let us know. That will actually target the social and emotional well-being of our immigrant population.
Wow.
What I did last year was because of the previous year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to put a group together. Now, do I speak Spanish? No. However, I do, like going back to working with my teachers, I got teachers that speak Spanish.
Right.
And and I reached out to one teacher and she was amazing and like, supporting this crazy dream that I had to bring all of these kids that only speak Spanish and from all of these different countries to
Right.
bring them together every Monday. It was my newcomers group. So every Monday it was 35 kids and
Wow.
that was only from second to fourth grade.
Wow.
They would come, we do different activities. We started off real basic, like, talking about like the transition here, like what that was like, leaving your friends and all this, because I
Mhm.
wanted to build a community where they felt seen and heard and not just like Charlie Brown's teacher, like while they're sitting in this classroom being spoken to in English
Right.
all day. So I wanted to build this space where they knew that Miss Gonzalez don't speak Spanish, right?
Although
I
your last name is Gonzalez, it's expected.
But, like, I needed them to understand that I got your back and I care about you and I care about how you're feeling and I care about the fact that you're here, in this new space and it's weird. And some of our students had never seen snow before and it's cold. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? You got to be here at 7:30 in the morning and you're here all day. Like, understanding that and like I learned so much from those kids in that
Mhm.
group because like it was like 6 different countries, first of all, which I thought was so cool.
That
Um,
is.
yeah, it was so cool, like 6 different countries that they had come from, but like learning about like the different ways that they did school and like the ways that they celebrate holidays. And is this a holiday where you're from? Is this not?
Right.
I remember one student, I would do would you rather, and the question was like, would you rather burgers or tacos? And like one student was like, what's a taco? I've never had tacos. And like just stuff like that, where
Yeah.
I was so fascinated. I
Beautiful.
love learning about different cultures.
Me too.
Love it. So it was
Learning and
so
visiting.
cool. And then by the end of the year, it was really cool because at the end of the year, we would try snacks from different countries. So that they like I wanted to learn about them, but I wanted them
Yeah.
to learn about other countries too. And so it was really cool. And so that is what I do. Again, I do that. That is
Yeah.
not something that is
Happening all over your schools.
no, no. I I do that. And so I think I'm gonna do it again this year because it was so successful last year. Like just seeing the kids like feel comfortable at first, they were like super timid. And then
Mhm.
like one girl specifically, like when she opened up and shared, I could have cried that day because
Aw.
when she like the group was literally created because of her and because of the struggles that she was having the year prior. And so for her to like finally open up and say what she needed to say or feel comfortable or whatever the case is, I said, oh, did my job.
Well, you are definitely in like your thing. I think this is such a blessing that you come up like gifts. You have gifts in you and you come up with all of these scenarios and situations to really bless these kids. And I want to commend you
Thank
for that
you.
because you are doing something really honorable, like to help these kids. It's really not a thing people talk about. Like I
Right.
don't know what the social worker is doing in the school with feelings and anger and happy. Who talks about being happy? You're just happy. So, Jen said, "Let's talk about your book club. You have book club,
Oh
girl.
man.
Let's talk about it."
My so okay. Again, I love to read. Love to read. And so the year, like 2 years ago, like I was like gung ho, like let's get these kids reading because reading is so amazing and whatever. And so someone had brought up this idea of, or had told me about this idea of like book clubs that was happening at her son's school when her son was younger. And I was like, oh,
Mhm.
that's cool. Like we should try that here. And so we started it year before last, and I really enjoyed it. I really think that we're in the elementary school again, and so kids are reading. You need to learn how to read
Right.
and learn to enjoy reading. But also, when I was speaking to a fellow social worker, she was saying like, what you're doing is like bibliotherapy, right? And I'm like, what? And so obviously I jump in the rabbit hole, right? Because I love
Right.
to do stuff. And I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? So I'm looking and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool because not only are they reading, but they are also a lot of times we are using the characters and the things that they're going through,
Mhm.
the kids are also going through or have gone through. So we are able to like talk about these situations and talk about how the character handled it and how they are handling it. And so they
Nice.
see that like it's not just you guys, like there are other kids that are also dealing with these things and you see how it's handled in this book. Every book is like a book that the character looks like my students because I don't,
Right.
say that. And so last year was really cool because I was like, yo, yes, we're reading, right? And it's great.
Yeah.
And the kids are like really learning like to deal with different feelings and different life scenarios through this book. And then I love the life skill aspect. I just think that again, kids need to be able to like be functioning humans. And so
Mhm.
last year what I did was I created or not created, but I came up with a trip. We took a trip to Barnes and Noble and
Okay.
yeah, we took a trip. The kids, I think only two of my girls had no, two of my girls had been. The other five had never been to Barnes and Noble. And I'm like, y'all, this is like one of my favorite spots.
Right.
So yeah, took them to Barnes and Nobles, definitely fundraised like crazy.
On your own?
Yeah. Yeah. So it was really like what I did was again, I love my teachers because one thing they gonna do 9 times out of 10, they gonna show up and show out when I ask them to. And so I be so hyped. And so I asked my teachers, like, hey, can you guys sponsor these kids? You know what I'm saying? Like I need $40 per kid so they can get a book and they can get lunch because then we were going to the mall too. They can get a book and they can get lunch. Kids were able to get $80 instead of the $40 because
Wow.
like my church family stepped in, some friends that like I haven't seen in a while stepped in and sent money. Teachers, like I said, was like drop cheap. I had one teacher that sent me $120. Like
Wow. That's a
teachers,
blessing.
yeah, they were
Yeah.
dropping money for these kids. And I was like, yo, this is so amazing. So anyway, I was able to take them to Barnes and Nobles. Again, I'm all about life skills and kids need to learn how to do things on their own as well. And so
Yeah.
I already had the conversation with the kids like, hey, you got $30 on a gift card for Barnes and Nobles. This is only for books. Y'all not buying toys. You're not buying
Yeah.
only for books. And then you have $50 in cash.
What?
Understand that your $50 in cash, that is where you are also buying your lunch. Okay. So you
We're
are
teaching
buying
math
your lunch.
skills, life skills here.
Yep, they had calculators, all of that. You have to buy your lunch. You have to order your own lunch. I'm not ordering it for you. And yes, I
Oh, I
understand.
love that. My
Yeah.
granddaughter just did that at the mall. She's 10 and she was so nervous and she
Yep.
was like, I don't know what to say. And then, you're teaching
Mhm.
them like, go up here. This
Yep.
is how you present yourself and you say this. And then when they respond, you will say that, and then you hold the money and then you're teaching them math skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they did all of that. They paid for their own books at Barnes and Noble. They ordered their own lunches. And like, there was times where I had to tell the cashier, like, hold on one second, because like, we don't slide money to people. You
Right.
pick it up and you put it in their hand. Right.
Mhm.
Like just little things like that. I also
Yeah.
used to work in retail and I hated when people would slide money.
Slide that money on the counter. My mom does not have that. She gonna
Yeah,
sit
like, what
there
are
and
you
wait for you to
doing?
pick it up, Miss Cash Register. Pick it up.
Yes.
That's not how you
And
got it.
that is something that is taught when they're young. So
Yeah.
you're third grade and you're in third grade, you have to talk to them. And then once they ordered their lunch, we had enough time to like walk through the mall. They also had to understand you can buy stuff from other stores. I am not manning your money though. So
Wow.
be very mindful of whatever you buy. If you
Right.
don't have money when we go to the next spot, that's on you. And
Yeah.
so, there were a couple that they bought a bunch of candy. Okay. And then by the time we were leaving, I wanted Starbucks. And they're like, I want Starbucks. Do you got Starbucks money?
Literally, do ya?
The answer is no, because you decided to spend $30 in candy.
And then
Remember?
their cash it's not, they can see it's not enough cash. Okay.
Exactly. And so they did great though. It was so fun. It's definitely something I would want to do again this year coming up. I think that because of the trip last year, I think I'll have a lot more kids that want to be in the group
Yeah.
because of the trip.
Mhm.
But but yeah. So that was my book club. My book bunch is what I call them.
Book bunch. So if you guys have questions, thank you so much. If you guys have questions, we are going to wrap it up in 10 minutes. If you have questions, please put them in the comments. Put them in the comments. Oh, someone said, please share some book recommendations.
Okay, for kids, for what kind of books we need? Because
Zakia, are you saying children's books?
yeah, what kind
Like
of
book?
books? Because
What kind of books?
I got books, but I need to know
Lots of books.
I need to know
Yeah.
the genre now. I don't want to have you reading nothing crazy.
And you're doing what age are you? You are 5 to 10?
5 to 10, so
5 to
K4.
10.
Mm-hmm.
K4.
Yes.
Oh, they're 4 turning 5.
No.
Is that what you mean?
Kindergarten through fourth grade. Sorry.
Oh, I was like, K4, PK4, what you
I'm
saying, girl?
sorry. No, kindergarten to fourth grade.
Okay, kindergarten to 4th grade. So with those kids and their emotions, because I want to really talk about go back to that. What tools can you give these parents who are watching or grandparents who are watching or support people? Like, do you recommend them getting spots in their home or what?
So yes, with the asterisks, like get spot. I think that
Spots
um I think that I would first recommend doing a lot of like self-work.
on the parents?
Yeah.
Child.
And the reason I say this is because not like a lot of our parents are some of us have been brought up in the time where kids are to be seen and not heard, like you do what I say, I don't have to listen to you, kids don't have a voice, right?
Right. Yes.
Some of us came up in that. And
Mhm.
so I think that because that's what we came up in, and I say we because that's how I was brought up.
Right. Me too.
With my first son, that's what it was, right? Until maybe like he was like 3 or 4, and I'm like, Fran, you wildin'. Because for real, like, how do you expect your kid to behave a certain way when you haven't taken the time to teach them?
Were you a social worker at this point?
I was in school for social work at that time.
Oh, so you were getting like tools and then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
self-reflection,
And
girl.
a lot of it was like, okay, I needed to do the work myself. So I needed to figure out, all right, what is disrespectful and why don't I like that? Do I not like it just because my mom didn't like it and that's the way it's supposed to be? Or is it a real issue? And if it's not a safety concern, what's the issue? Like, what are you
Tone, child, tone,
exactly? And
tone.
so,
I
and
don't
so
like the tone.
yeah, exactly. And so and that's something that you can say, right? Like if you are talking to your kid and you don't like their tone, like because one thing I say is I like, oh, you getting spicy. That's what I say.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I'm like, you getting a little spicy. And then they're like, no, I didn't mean to be spicy. So
Yeah.
because they're
So it's
boys.
not like you're saying they're being fresh because
Yeah,
then that's triggering to label like black girls that
no.
they're being fresh. So saying spicy
Yeah,
sounds
like
a
so
lot better.
spicy. Or I'll let them know, like, hey, I understand what you were saying. I just want you to know that the way that you said it made me feel however, right? And then
Yeah.
sometimes is that on them? No, because is it a real emotion? It's almost like my youngest one is easy for me to be like, who are you talking to? And he's gonna answer the question. He's gonna say you, because that's who
Yeah.
he's talking
'Cause
to.
that is my
And it,
grandkids are like that. They're like, "You." And I'm like,
yeah,
"No, that's not really how I meant it. My intentions was for you to be like, 'Who you think you talking to?'" They're like,
exactly.
"You," because I am talking to you, like,
Exactly.
literally.
And so
Yes.
that's what I mean when I say like sometimes we just have to do the self work because it's like I can eat my mom. First of all, I was never saying you because I knew not to say that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I needed my teeth. So no. But my kids don't have a care for their teeth. And so my
Right.
youngest, he's gonna say you, and then I have to be like, well, I can't be mad because that's a real question. That's a
Yeah.
real question. And he answered the question. So what I'm gonna be mad for? And so that's what I mean when I say, like, doing the self work, like not setting your kids up to do something that you don't want them to do. Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like when your kid like did something and then you ask them in a way that gives them the opportunity to lie to you. Why would you do that? Because you're going to be mad that they're lying.
Now you're mad they're lying.
Yeah. Like, I'm not even going to give you the opportunity. Like, hey, I seen that you did X, Y, and Z. Let's not do that again. And my
Right.
kids know, like that. First of all, when I tell my children, let's not do that again, I better not have to talk about this again.
Right.
Because that's it. Let's
So are
not.
you giving them a couple chances before we're
Um,
not gonna talk about this again?
yeah. So my kids they have their first time that they do something, right?
Mhm.
If it's something that I have not explicitly taught my children, I don't believe they should be getting in trouble for it.
Y'all hear that? If you have not explicitly taught your kid not to do something, they should not be getting in trouble for it because the onus is on the parent. Like how they getting in trouble and you ain't tell them right, wrong, indifferent.
Hmm. Hmm. So the very first time that my kids do something, we gonna walk through like why this is not okay, all of the things, what you can do next time, all this other stuff, right?
Mhm.
That's the first time. The second time, if there is a second time,
Right?
I need you to explain to me how this was supposed to be handled because I need to understand that you understand that this was unacceptable. But I
Right.
need you to explain it to me. I'm not even gonna do the talking. What was the problem?
Like
Like,
you want to know their thought process.
yeah, yeah. I need to understand this. I ain't never got to a third time. That's all I'm gonna say when it comes to my kids. Because they know by the time you get to third time, I'm taking stuff. We like,
Yeah.
and so I've never gotten to a third time. But those first two times is like, oh, I need to teach you this. I remember my oldest son, I had his phone one day and I realized that somebody was trying to FaceTime him at 1:30 in the morning. And I'm like, that's weird because
Because why?
because when we start doing that. So then I had the conversation with him and I'm like, bro, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Why would somebody be FaceTiming you at 1 o'clock in the morning?
Right.
And this man gonna tell, well, he's not a man. This woman gonna tell me, talking some, oh, because it's the weekend. When did I ever let you be on the phone at 1 o'clock in the
Right.
morning?
Because why you
Like,
ain't sleep?
you're not even supposed to be up. Like, what are you talking about? And so it's like, oh, well, you let us stay up. First of all, you got to go to bed at 11:30 on the weekends. You want to know why? Because I feel weird about letting y'all stay up to 12 o'clock in the morning. So I know for a fact I ain't never let you stay up
Right.
past that. Okay. But then on top of that, somebody's calling you. Okay, you're right. I never told you that people can't call you at 1 o'clock in the morning. Now I am telling you, people can't call you at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Okay. So this is not something I explicitly taught you before.
Yeah.
let me take the time to do it now. Of course, as a mom, I'm like, I feel like you should know
Right.
that.
It's implied.
But that's okay. I'm gonna eat this one. Don't
Yeah.
let it happen again.
Don't let it happen again. I love that. I love that though. I love the communication and you're giving the kids and even your own kids, like you're applying this all to their lives and using your own tools with them. Jen
Mm.
said anybody can book with her. Jen Owens. Y'all see her up in the comments. She said if you guys want to book with Jen Owens, please go find her.
Yes,
She
yes.
does self work. Go find
Yes.
her.
Dude,
Please
listen.
book. Child, we finna call you. I don't
Yes.
even know if you take the insurance we got, but child, we gonna call you. Monique said, Monique said she needs a book for a shy second grader that needs to read more. Do you have like a recommendation for that?
Recommendation that needs to read more. So what I would say, second grade, I would say the biggest thing for a lot of second graders that I know is going to be graphic novels. And I know people do not love graphic novels. However, they are books.
Right.
Regardless of how we feel about them, they are books. And so my well, he's going to sixth grade now, but my youngest son is not a reader. He does it because he's supposed to. He does not enjoy it. But the only things that I could get him to read at that age were graphic novels. So you have The Bad Guys was huge for him.
Hmm.
Um and then there's also a movie too for The Bad Guys. So it kind of like if you read the book and then like,
Then watch
oh,
the
you will watch
movie.
the movie after.
Oh, that's cool.
Um, uh, Bad Guys. What was that other one? Not Captain Underpants because that's a little bit older. That's like fourth to sixth grade. Oh my gosh, Dog Man.
Dog
Um,
man.
yeah, Dog Man. There's also a new one called Cat Kid. And then I don't know if you let your kid play video games or whatever the case is, but there is like the Zombies versus Plants. There's also a
Okay.
graphic novel for that.
I
Or
love that.
is Hello Neighbor one too? I think Hello Neighbor is also one. What I did though with my oldest son is well, he's he's always been a reader. So let's start with that. But with my oldest son, we did a mommy and me book club that we picked out a book and he would read a page, I would read a page, like we would just go back and forth. That was our
Mhm.
thing. We still kind of do it now, but now he's 16, girl. He don't want nothing to do with me. So, well, 15. Oh my gosh, he won't be 16 for a couple of months, but yeah.
Sharon said that I've read books with my grand and then looked forward to watching the movies version, like you just said. So that creates opportunity to compare the books with the movies. And it also creates time to talk about feelings, which is
Yes.
happening, right? With the
Yep.
spot. So we can talk
Yes.
about feelings and all of that. So parents, get on reading with your kids, even if it's, graphic
Graphic
books,
novels. Yeah, especially at that.
novels,
Or cookbooks, right?
and
Like people
cookbooks,
like,
right? Because kids love to cook.
yes. And there are a ton of kid cookbooks. I
Oh, that's such
have
so it's kinda like you don't have to go find, I don't wanna say Drew, whatever it is. You don't have to go through the traditional route
nope.
of reading. You can
No.
always find like, there's so many things out there.
Heck, if you want to start with a cereal box, start with that. Get the kid reading.
Yeah, that's what we used to do, read the back of that cereal box,
Yeah.
honey,
Or
every day.
if they like video games, great. You have to do the story mode where you have to read what's supposed to be happening.
Okay, so, can you one more again, and then we will, do a little closure. So you want to tell everyone about Spot and how we got here, and you want to give some advice and tools to leave us with, maybe some books to go find on Amazon, not the ones you just said, but
How about what kind of books though? Because like when I say I read, like I really read. I've read 82 books this year so far
woohoo.
in January. Like I read. And so it depends. You need some self-help books. You just want
Yeah,
like
it's for the parents and the children. Like, are there self-help books for parents and children to read together?
I would say probably. There's one that I read with my son, but he's a little bit older. One of my favorite books of all time is this book, Professional Troublemaker by Lovey Ajayi. Legit, like one of my favorite books ever. She had one for young kids too. So it's like an upcoming professional troublemaker.
Okay.
which was really cool. It's really about like, you know, owning like who you are as a professional and standing up for yourself and, you know, all those things. But other than that, I don't, not that I'm aware of. I'm pretty sure there's a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't have any self-help that like parents and kids can read.
Y'all
And a
go to
lot,
Jen. Y'all parents go to Jen. She
yeah,
gonna get y'all right.
yeah,
Go to Jen O, and she gonna get y'all right. And then after that, you know, you could be able to help your kids, but don't help your kids if you ain't right. Is that right,
that's
Madam
100%,
Social Worker?
100% accurate. Like,
Okay,
get
because
yourself together first.
don't do more damage to the
No,
kids. Not that they're damaged or anything, but don't hinder them and give
right.
them like, you know, don't not help them.
Just, you know. So yeah, Little Spot of Emotions, my favorite thing. That's, I mean, that's a group of books that if you want to read with your kid, definitely get
Yeah.
those. Like, definitely get A Little Spot of Emotion. She also has, like I said, it's the life skills pack. She has a celebration pack, which is really cool. She's
Hmm.
talking about different you know, different holidays or whatever. If you're into that. What else? Like that, I think she has like, it's like 32 books actually.
Wow. And all of these are on Amazon
Yes, they're on
and available.
Amazon. They're on her website as well, but they're on Amazon. um, yeah.
Okay, get us the name of the book. She said that she found one that had a question where you answered the same question as your child and then you shared. So I
Oh,
love
that's
that.
cool. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
a
So we
patient
do
night.
a lot of I do a lot of questions like for my family, because like we need to be able to talk to each other, because like I said earlier, I think that like kids, including my own, like they need to be comfortable speaking to adults. One of the best things is when I see my older son interact with other adults. It is so beautiful because he's so confident. He knows
Yeah,
what he wants to say. Like he's not cowering. He's looking them straight in their eyes and he's saying the things he needs to say. And I think that that's great, but that's something that we've taken the time to teach because we do a
yeah.
lot of talking here at the house. And so we do a lot of like pick one questions. There's a book, I forget, it's like 1,000 or 3,000 pick one questions, 1,000 would you rather, like different things like that, like the 3,000 questions about me that I bought
Right.
for myself, but I'll ask those questions out loud as a family and we all answer the question. So yeah.
I like that. So I am definitely going to go on there and order some books so that way
Yes.
I can have these conversations. I feel like I want to draw like circles on the wall or put something on the wall with some words so that way the kids can identify. And I think it's really important when they are like, when you say growing their confidence as
Yes.
little kids to kind of
Mhm.
know what you're feeling, how to operate in those feelings and what's acceptable, what's not. So all of that. So what last words of advice do you have for our viewers, you know, that can empower them and give them some better, well, you gave all the information, but just to empower and encourage them.
I would say it's really like we all winging it, y'all.
Right.
We all winging it, right? And so like we are learning and we are growing and we are getting better as we go, but there is no like, be kind to yourself, right? I think that for my, like I said, my older son, he got a more stricter parent. He got like a lot more of the way that I grew up because that's what I thought was needed. And I could be very hard on myself when it comes to
Mhm.
him and just be like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." However, like you say sorry and you move on. We got to move on. We can't sit here. So be kind to yourself. Understand that you are growing and you are learning. And it's a beautiful journey and enjoy the journey, right? Like
Yeah.
there's times where I'm like, "Oh, sorry, shouldn't have said that." But we don't sulk in it. We don't stay in it.
Yeah.
We got to move on. So
And
yeah,
apologize to your kids when you're wrong. Like that's
please.
important too because you want your kids to apologize, child.
Yes.
Yeah.
My kids will, especially that little one, man. He will say, you can apologize because you was wrong. And there's times where I have to be like, all right, I do apologize because I was wrong.
I and that helps
But
with, you know, that communication part, like you're teaching them, like,
yes.
healthy communication. Thank you, thank you,
Yeah,
thank you for
you are.
coming on. You
Thanks
were
for
such
having
a
me. This was fun.
yeah, you were such a blessing, such a blessing. Everyone if you're in the comments, give us a clap. Give a clap for Francess Gonzalez. She was so amazing. Whoa. Hello. That came from heaven, honey.
Right?
Hand cap came from heaven. So thank you. Thank you for joining me and giving such like your testimony of like where you've been and how you came into even your field is such a blessing. I know there are people watching who will want to say, "Oh, you know what? I want to do that." I love what you do. I
Thank
love that you empower the kids and encourage the kids and give them confidence because you literally are raising the next generation.
Mhm.
Like that's what you're doing. So I love that about you. I want you guys to tune in. When we close, I want y'all to share this because we need to get this. This was such a great topic. We need to get this out to the masses, the people. I need y'all to send this out. So share this live after it's over. So that way, share it to your friends, your parents, your teachers. You could probably even watch it with your kids once you go and see what's going on, because I think it's very important that your kids understand communication. And then you can pause and say, well, how do you feel about that? Like it's so much that was inside of this episode. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you, gorgeous. You're so beautiful.
Thank you.
You are so beautiful. So thank you all, everyone who watches weekly. I thank you all for your support. I counted. Y'all know I would not be here without you. Well, with the Lord, because you know all things come
Amen.
from him. Amen. But I thank you all for watching and supporting and loving on me. I do not take it lightly. So if you are an educator, please inbox me. Inbox me. Don't put it in the comments because it's a lot of comments and they go away. They don't go away, but it's a lot. So inbox me if you're an educator and you would like to come on. I am interested in having you on. We will talk about give some tools like we just got today from Francess Gonzalez, because we want to prepare and equip our kids as the best we can. So
Yes.
thank you all for watching. Tune in next week on y'all. We are on episode 15 next week. We will be here live Thursdays, 6:30. Thank you all for watching. All is well. Don't forget our affirmation that we said. If you want to share this to your friends, please do that. Not if you. You should. You should. It's a lot going on in here. Francis, girl, you done blessed us. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So we'll see y'all next Thursday at 6:30. Thank you
Bye,
all for
y'all.
tuning in. Beyond the Surface with Sharon. I'm your girl, Sharon. See y'all next week.